another Cougar Coaches Show here on Mediacom Channel 22, also online at ColumbiaCougars.com. My name is Cosmo, broadcaster for Cougar softball action, and Coach Wendy Spratt. Coach, welcome.
Thank you.
Fall is here. I know it's a weird time to kind of talk about softball, considering your first games aren't until February, which you look at the schedule and you see 2015, which is kind of hard to believe. But you guys do get some fall time, some scrimmage time. Talk a little bit about, let's start with the roster. How about that? First of all, you look out there and you had to rebuild an entire infield first and foremost. It's been a while since you've had to replace this many starters, four-year starters on your entire infield with the girls from Jeff City making up that infield.
It has been a very long time, and to tell you the truth, I don't know what we're going to do yet. It's evolving and it changes every day. So we have 8 new players. We have a roster of 20, which is more than I like to carry normally. But we've got some people that are talented and that are learning every day and fighting for position. So it's very competitive at practice, which makes it fun.
Now, how much time do you get as far as does the NAA allow for fall practice? Like when is that, what's that window?
We have 24 weeks during the year. So we use 5 weeks in the fall. We play 2 scrimmage dates and then an alumni game and then start again in January.
Now, is that something that other teams can shift those times around, or is it pretty much that's what everybody kind of does? Or
the teams that play a fall schedule generally do something like that.
Gotcha.
The weather is really good right now. In fact, practices are great right now compared to what they are in January, so we get a lot of work done in the fall.
I actually get a chance to play on the dirt.
Right.
which is sometimes not easy to do here in February as you get ready for the season to start. But last weekend you played some scrimmages over in St. Louis. Take us through a little bit of that action and how the girls looked.
We played UMSL. The first game we lost 6-3. Came back and beat St. Charles Community College 13-2. And then we played a great game against Jeffco. It was amazing. It was a very intense game, kind of games that you love to be in. Either team had opportunities to score throughout several innings, and we held them. We finally scored in the bottom of the 6th and held them in the top of the 7th. And we had some defensive plays that were outstanding. And one of our freshmen, Rachel Sullivan, came through with a base hit up the middle. Line drive, right, bounced that high off the ground in front of the center fielder. We scored.
There you go.
I thought the umpire was going to say she caught it. I was ready to argue, but they let it go. We scored the run. And
That's when you wish you had your challenge flag like the NFL coaches ready to. You got to practice the arguing too, trying to lobby your case out there. And then you got some more games coming up this coming weekend. Talk about who the ladies will play then.
We go to St. Louis U on Sunday and play St. Louis U, and then we have a game off, and then we play University of Illinois Springfield, who we haven't played in a long time.
Yeah, former
Used to be in our
conference mates,
conference,
yeah, years ago.
So, but the girls look great. We got to see, in fall, you get to substitute anytime you want. There aren't any rules, so you can bat as many as you want or change people in and out. So we had a lot of people playing in a lot of different positions. We were able to use speed on the bases a lot, so that makes it a little more fun.
Which is, yeah, well, and I mean, that's good that that's allowed, because then you guys can, especially with 8 freshmen coming in and newcomers, and like we said already, especially just with the infield alone, trying to figure out who can play where and make that jump from competitive high school level to the NAIA college level is a lot bigger than I think a lot of people think it is.
So a change that you'll probably be surprised at is we'll probably bring in Carly in to play shortstop,
really?
So our center fielder. So.
As good as she was in center field.
Yeah, as good as she is. She is very good in center field, but she's also very good at shortstop, and she's made the adjustment. And at first, I didn't think she wanted to do it. So sometimes when you have a player that really fights you on something, and maybe they're not as good as they could be, but she's on board and ready to go, and she's really doing a great job there.
Well, depth is obviously something that when you've got it, if you have that opportunity to be able to move some pieces around and give you that option, then you got to go for it.
Yeah.
And she was, as a freshman last year, obviously was certainly a standout player in center field for you guys.
Definitely, and we love her speed. We'd like to clone her and have some more Carlys, but we can't find any more Carlys.
Get her on, and she's usually at second base in no time and pretty much around to score if possible. Yeah, as we said in the infield, Taylor Atwood behind the plate, and then other than that, it's a clean slate as far as around the bases, as far as defensively, and then outfield-wise, again, everybody's kind of plug and play, figuring out who's going where.
I always tell them, if Addie's healthy, Addie's going to catch, and from there, I don't know. You got to earn your position. Probably the way into the lineup is hitting. So if you're going to hit consistently, then we're going to find a place for you. So
another new challenge for you as a coach to, whereas before you knew that lineup, you'd write them down. Here you go, boom, 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 it's done.
And it may be a situation, we have a lot of talented people that we actually rotate games. Maybe this is the infield for the first game and this is the infield for the second game. We haven't gotten that far yet, but it's certainly a possibility this year, and I haven't had too many years like that. It's usually pretty set.
Right.
So.
Obviously, starting the circle, a lot of softball picks up with the pitchers, and you've got several on the roster. Amber Bain was healthier last year, got a chance to pitch. Paxton Welch, now a sophomore. Talk us through the potential rotation, if you will, your pitchers.
Well, again, I thought last year, we would have one or two people step up, and, it just happened at different times. We didn't have anybody that was consistently taking that number 1 or 2 spot. So we rotated them a lot, and they all pitched pretty close to the same amount of innings. I'm hoping this year somebody steps up. We've added Kaylee, Canadian pitcher, throws her ice ball, good changeup, good drop ball. She's about 5'10", she's pretty good. So we've added a different dimension as well. So again, they'll be fighting for pitching time, and we hope that somebody steps up and really wants the ball and comes out. And they all have the ability to be that one.
Right.
But we'll have to wait and see. It's still out. Again, even in fall practices, sometimes you'll have somebody have a great day, and then the next day somebody else has a great day. So they're definitely battling for that spot.
Well, in some regards, that's great, and you got a ton of talent. It's just a matter of taking that next step, that extra step, if you will.
Absolutely.
That really helps stand out when you end up, and it really shows through when you start seeing pitchers and you start climbing the ranks into the tournaments, and you see those teams that have that lockdown pitcher that can go 2 games in a row if they need to in a doubleheader situation, or into a busy day where you're going to have a couple of games played. It makes a big difference.
It does.
How do you, as far as the actual practices, how do you split as far as defense versus pitching time? How line up a practice, an average Cougar softball practice at this time of the year? What's going on?
We have a couple days a week that we do a lot of drills, just trying to get people fundamentally sound. And then the other couple days we're doing a lot of scrimmaging. Again, because we have so many new people, we're trying to put new positions. So they've got to communicate with each other and get used to playing together. And, we have to stop a lot right now to say, this is what you should have done. And they ask questions. So it's been very interactive, and we're learning a lot. But again, maybe not our typical fall practices.
It's cliche, I think, but fundamentals, it always comes back whether you're on the basketball court or on the diamond. Fundamentals of whatever the sport is, it's always amazing how when there is a breakdown in fundamentals, it's so glaring, especially later in the season when you have a tournament time and with a lot of new faces. But that can't be an excuse. Obviously, it's a whole new team. Last year's team was last year's team, and now you've got this group, and just more time to coach and teach.
We're excited. We're really excited. It's a lot of fun for me to try to put the puzzle pieces together, and I've got a new staff in place as well. So. Debbie Jamison, we just hired. She's been with the Rockers organization and Diamond Council. She's doing an amazing job. And then Jamie Holmes, obviously. You remember her?
Yeah.
She brings a lot to the table as well. So we're all working really well together, and I think it's made a huge difference as well.
And you have somebody that players are familiar with, the ones that know her from last year and the last couple seasons with her being on the roster. And you've had that benefit over the years, not just with grad students, but other girls that have gone into that role and become an assistant. Including one that's getting ready to go into the Hall of Fame. That was a special player for you, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Katie McMahon, yeah. She's one of my favorites. I shouldn't probably say that.
She's a Hall of Famer, you can say.
She was a Hall of Famer. She was my assistant. She watched Danny, my little girl, for the first year of her life. So, yeah, she's special. Has a special place in my heart.
And was one of those pitchers that we talked about that was one of those shutdown pitchers. I remember when I first started doing play-by-play, she was one of the pitchers, and thought, oh, okay, this is a real deal here. Okay, she's pretty darn good.
She is, and she doesn't look very intimidating on the mound, but boy, she had the pitches. She could move the ball. She could spot it. She could set up hitters, and definitely did a great job for us.
And and that moving forward, as you try and piece it all together, talk about the schedule. I know you make another trip to Gulf Shores for a trip, but with as many conference teams as there are now, it's really there's not as much non-con, and then you're pretty much right to conference play.
We do. The schedule looks pretty tough. We're going to Arkansas again twice, Gulf Shores. This year we're going to California. We're going to go play Concordia again.
Why not go up with those top 3 teams? I know you do the same thing. Coach Washington does it, schedule early on. You want to know what you're facing.
We do.
And
absolutely.
It's important mentally and both physically for the team to see hey, girls, look, this is what, the top 5, top 4, top 3 teams look like.
Absolutely. We want to know that we can compete. And sometimes they look at them like, but once they see them and they know they can compete, it puts us at a different level.
Different perspective, and you bring it back around. Is still the dream sequence, obviously, for your field to be back on campus at some point soon. I know you want it to happen like now, today, if at all possible. But I get a lot of people ask me out about different times. Is there going to be a field back on campus? I know that's in the master plan to happen, hopefully here in another couple of seasons.
Yeah, I think so. The soccer project is going now, and then they're going to build a maintenance building, and then we're third on the list. So hopefully, I'm hoping 3 years, probably 3 to 5 is what they're telling me.
You can keep tinkering with your master design
plan
of that dream Cougar softball stadium back on campus, which would be good. But the Parks and Rec have been fantastic, and I know from being over there this past year with my son's T-ball stuff, the fact that Cougar softball sign is out there in center field, and you see some of the younger girls teams that, we're playing on Columbia's field. It's a recruiting tool to some degree. It's certainly publicity for the school, but it's also a great facility, as we saw with the national tournament round being here in Columbia. Is what's happening with as far as the conference tournament is it going to be back in Columbia, or is that something we don't know yet?
We don't know yet. The bids are due in a couple weeks, so we're not sure.
Another bid process.
Yes.
Let the politics handle themselves. You concentrate on playing softball.
It is going to be different, though, a different format. We are going to 8 teams this year instead of the first round playing each other in the best 2 out of 3. It'll be 8 teams at one site over 3 days. So.
Oh, interesting. So hopefully it's in Columbia. We'll see.
Hopefully.
Less travel time. Obviously last year you ended the tournament as far as I know last year also you started doing a lot more of the mental side of the game with the girls, and that's a big part of coaching in really any sport. We've talked about it with Coach Utley with the golf team especially, but I'm assuming that's something that's going to be into the mix with your guys again this year?
Definitely. Last year we were, again, fall practices. We took a day off of fall practice to do the mental. And this year I felt like we needed every physical day we could have, so we'll start the mental training right after the fall season stops. So. Still a very big part, and I hear everything that they say, the way that they phrase things, and I'm just cringing right now, but I know we can fix it in the off season. So.
Talking what the girls are saying?
The girls, yeah, they apologize a lot. They're sorry about everything. I'm like, no, don't be sorry, be better.
Yeah, work through it. Let's figure it out. Communicate. But that's they're adjusting. Like you said, with 8 freshmen, it's a big difference. To get everybody up to speed. Well, good luck with the season. Good luck with the rest of the fall practices in St. Louis this weekend. And before we know it, we'll be forgetting about our Christmas toys and it'll be time to play some softball.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, Coach Wendy Spratt, Cougar softball squad. You can meet all the new players, the roster, and more on the team online at ColumbiaCougars.com. And like we said before, it'll be February and time to start playing some games. You've been watching the Cougar Coaches Show here on MediaCom Channel 22.